Hello and welcome to Legit Info Lit, where we protect democracy by empowering information consumers. Today we will discuss one of the most prevalent reasons why people have lost faith in news and information, misinformation, and its nefarious brother, disinformation. Our objectives today are to learn what misinformation is, the forms it can take, and how intent turns misinformation into the destructive parasite called disinformation. Okay, critical thinkers. In our previous episode, we discussed the 6 information zones and their purposes. Misinformation can fall into multiple zones, but once the intent of misinformation becomes purposeful, not simply a joke or accident, then it is called disinformation. Disinformation is a direct threat to our democracy and the peace in our nation. Misinformation pollutes our digital environment, impacts our choices and actions like voting. It also impacts our relationships. Things can get ugly. When we are misinformed, we lose credibility in discussions, or worse, we spread the misinformation to others. Now, sometimes being misinformed is due to user error, meaning the information consumer misunderstands the intent of the content. There is a lot of comedy out there on the internet, and some of it looks a lot like truth. Satire is commonly mistaken for actual news or fact. Satire is the use of humor or exaggeration to critique or mock a person, organization, or policy. Satire is not meant to be misinformation.
Huh?
So now you might be thinking, if something isn't meant to misinform you, then how can it be misinformation? Well, let's take a look at this example. This article states, experts warn climate-related food shortages may require bugs to overcome taboos against eating Americans. Now, this example is pretty obviously funny, but imagine how confused someone might be if they didn't know The Onion is a comedic source. The Onion is a satirical site. Unfortunately, with satire, if someone doesn't understand that the content is a joke, then they can become misinformed. And what is one of the greatest dangers a misinformed person poses? Forwarding, retweeting, direct messaging, or any other possible way of spreading misinformation like a disease. But not everything out there is so innocuous. One of the sneakiest, nastiest, most overt forms of misinformation is called false context. False context is a form of disinformation because it intentionally tries to deceive you.
Huh?
Oh yes, false context takes an image, quote, or other piece of content and puts it into a new, inaccurate setting so that it can be incorrectly understood and assessed, and so that the original meaning is deceptively changed. You may be asking yourself, why would someone want to deceive me? Take a look at this example. Someone actually took a Flickr picture of a bloody paper towel back from 2009 and used it as false evidence that they were assaulted by young Black people at a Black Panther premiere in 2018. The intention of this post is to cause racial discord and stir up hateful feelings. Okay, for a quick recap. Misinformation can be unintentional, like satire, or intentional, like false context. When misinformation is intentional, it is called disinformation. Mis and disinformation have the power to cause great damage. They influence how we think, the choices we make, and our personal relationships. It's up to you to be information literate and get the facts before coming to a conclusion. Well, that's all the time we have today for expanding our minds with legit info lit. Remember, before you share it, question it, analyze it, verify it.